What is up, everybody? This is your boy AJ Tripp, and welcome to That's a Shoot. This is my weekly wrestling show where we talk about the good and the bad in the world of professional wrestling, what I like to call put over and bury, and then we talk about the main topic of the episode. And as always, let's get started. Let's put over and bury. Well, let's start off with the best thing to come out of this week in wrestling: the fact that Roman Reigns has announced that he is in remission. That he has once again kicked the ass of leukemia, and it is such a fantastic news to hear. He's better. It is great, and I think he is going to be. He's probably going to end up being maybe even a bigger star than he ever is, because I think he's going to be maybe on the front line, because nobody knew that he had ever had cancer in the past. So when he came out with it, back in October, everybody was shocked to hear. And so the fact that he has, so like that he has come out and said that he is now in remission, it is fantastic. And he said he's going to do everything that he can to be a spokesperson. I hope so. So he was on GMA, the Tuesday morning, and talking about his cancer. Talking with Robert Robbins, who is also a cancer survivor. So this is fantastic. This is wonderful news. The best news you could have as a wrestling fan. And I know there are many people out there who did not like Roman Reigns, and but they were rooting for him, and rooting for him to beat it, and yeah, he did, and it is great to see. It was great to hear, and it was great to see him back, better than ever, and maybe not better than ever, but at least I say better than ever, at least in the fact of his health, and so yeah, this was good. This was really good. This was some good news, and I didn't know, when they announced that Roman Reigns was going to give an update on his condition. I did not know exactly the way they was going with it. I didn't want to, think of anything. I didn't want to know, I didn't want it to be like, be good, to think that it was good news, and then I just didn't want to be, negative or even too positive, anything like that. So I didn't even. I was just thinking, oh, okay. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, um, best news we could get all week. So once again, shout out Roman Reigns. You did it, Big Oos. You did it. A couple other things to put over. How about the new Kofi twist that happened this Tuesday in SmackDown? He was getting ready to sit down and sign the contract, and Vince came out there and basically did what he did to Kofi, what he did to Becky Lynch, and took him out of the match and put in Kevin Owens. And it has a lot of people in the wrestling world thinking that there's a possibility that we could have a one-on-one match at WrestleMania between Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan, where Kofi Kingston wins the WWE Championship. And we're going to talk about a little bit more on that later in the main topic. But that would be something, wouldn't it? That would be something, really something. So, and I like this new twist. It gives the fans an opportunity to be more behind Kofi, and yeah. So, and I think 11 years, he can wait another month or two. So this is going to be, I think, pretty good. So I like the way that went down, and so it was really cool. I think really cool twist to put on this. Even though this is kind of just another Becky Lynch thing, but I really think this is a really cool way to go about it. I kind of wish they would have did they wouldn't have done what they did with Becky Lynch, and they just would have, you know, and they would have done this with Kofi. I really do. Now that they've done it, because this fits a lot better with this than what they're doing with Becky Lynch, and with her title shot. And the last thing we're gonna put over is R-Truth was good this week. He really was. I mean, he came out there. First of all, I was glad to see him back on television. He's bringing up. He started talking about the the United States Open Challenge, and he was when he was a little kid. He was rooting up. He was wanting to be a John Cena. And just everything about this was it was hilarious, and it was great. Andrade came down and he stood, and then Rey Mysterio came down, and Rey Mysterio pushed him out the way, got in the ring, and then I love the fact that I'm in a pickle. He goes, "What would John Cena do?" Carmella next to him would say, "John Cena would take on both of them." And he goes, "But John Cena's a brave man." And he just starts laughing. I mean, this was great. This was great. Drew retained the United States Championship, and I really want this. I know that there's some rumors that it's going to be Rey versus Andrade for the United States Championship, but I would really like to see, especially, and give it up to Ali Davis from Wrestle Talk. He's got a great does a great idea that as Truth every week on SmackDown, Truth continues to do this, and then and then he gets to WrestleMania and he does the U.S. Open Challenge, and and then all of a sudden John Cena comes out, and John Cena takes the U.S. Open Challenge. Then that would be a pretty awesome and pretty cool match to have between the two guys. So yeah, I really got to put over R-Truth this week. It was fantastic, and hopefully they continue with this. As much as they're trying to do a whole lot of other new things, you know, I think it's really good to continue to have R-Truth on television. I really do. I really do. I think it's especially if he's going to continue to do this U.S. Open Challenge. I really would like to see that. Whichever way they may be going with it. And now it's time to bury a couple of things. And with the past couple of weeks, there hasn't been a lot to bury. At least in my opinion, I've liked a lot of things. I will say this: we do have a couple of things to bury this week. One thing are the Roman truthers, and these are the guys who are saying that Roman's cancer was a work, and that they did this to get the fans behind. The WWE did this to get the fans behind Roman Reigns, and did this to get Roman Reigns, over with the crowd and everything like that. But I think that while I guess I could understand a cynical nature of wrestling fans, because wrestling, all in all, is a work. It's a work. Excuse me. Wrestling is a work. So things that happen in wrestling, you would be, that are supposed to be shoots, work. And then when you talk about real life stuff, let's face it, y'all. We just had a black man in real life hire two other black men to beat him up, pour bleach on him, and put a noose around his neck, all so that he could blame it on Donald Trump supporters and get a raise on his TV show. Allegedly. That's what we just had that happen. So a cynical person would just be cynical of everything. That being said, this is one of these things where I just think there is, you have to look at it logically and maybe ask yourself the question: okay, would they do this to really get Roman over and get him finally cheered by the crowd? However, right? However, the backlash would be it would be amazing. Not it's not only like the backlash from wrestling fans, but the backlash from everywhere, right? The backlash from everywhere. Think about it. There have got to be people in the WWE who have lost lost family members to cancer. That family members, they lost close family members. Cancer has affected their life ever. They themselves might even be cancer survivors. And to have their company use cancer as a way to get Roman Reigns over, they would lose them forever. They would lose fans forever. They would lose sponsors forever. That would be the finger poke of doom for WWE. That really would be, because you can guarantee that if that came out and that was true, within 2 years they would be gone. They would be put out of business. And so I just don't think that that's the case, unless it's just Roman Reigns and Vince McMahon. Unless it's just those two, and maybe members of the family. But I don't even think the members of the family. I don't think the family members would go about it that would think that. I don't think they would go along with that because of karma. Yeah, karma. I don't think they would do that either. Oh Lord, what happened? No, I think there's no way. There is no way that this is a work from the WWE. It just isn't. And so I kind of just hope that you guys can just get over whatever your Roman Reigns hatred or your WWE hatred or your cynical nature, whatever, and just take a sit back and realize that this is a guy who, for the second time in his life, he beat cancer. He beat leukemia, and and give it up for Roman Reigns. Just give it up for him, man. Really are. And the last thing we're gonna bury is on the whole WWE Women's Title situation. Sasha Banks and Bayley, they were on WWE NXT this past Wednesday, and I am not a fan of having the WWE Women's titles be defended on NXT. I'm just not. I'm not a fan of it. I think that if you want to have NXT stars wrestle for it, bring them up to Raw, bring them up to SmackDown, and then do it that way. But I'm not a big fan of them going down to NXT and doing it. I'm just not a fan of that. So, and actually, and then that actually sets up like even a bigger question. There are a lot of girls who are right now in NXT who you could just bring up, bring up whether they're, whether they're like Mia Yim is Mia Yim is a 10-year veteran. She doesn't need a lot of seasoning down in NXT. I think the other four horsewomen of MMA, Baszler, Duke, and Shafir, they are I think they are ready. Even though Duke and Shafir are pretty young in their when they're training, don't have them do the same thing as Ronda Rousey. Have them wrestle once a month. Have them wrestle once a month. You know, and maybe have them wrestle every third or every fourth pay-per-view for like the next couple years until they really get the hang of it. And Ronda Rousey caught on pretty quickly, even though there has been some sloppiness in the last 3 or 4 months. There has been some sloppiness from her during her matches. For the most part, I think she's really done really good. There hasn't been a stinker. I'll say that there hasn't been like a stinker. In her thing, in her thing, where she just went out there and stunk up the joint, botched everything, and everything like that. So yeah, I think there. I think Bianca Belair could be ready. I think there's a lot of girls that are ready. So, bring those women up and bring a division. Kairi Sane and the Sky Pirates, Kairi Sane and Io Shirai. They could be ready. So there's a lot. I think there's a lot of things they can do. But the one thing I don't really want to do, I don't want to watch a takeover where Sasha and Bayley are defending the women's titles against a women's team. I really don't want that. Let me go ahead and get some water before I can stop coughing. Shit. So the main topic of this That's Shoot is who is the first black WWE champion, and this goes back to the Elimination Chamber when I saw a lot of people on Twitter after the Kofi situation with Kofi and Bryan, that 15 minutes or whatever that they had being the last two in the cage. I saw a lot of people talking about saying that Kofi Kingston would be the first black WWE champion. And I'm sitting here thinking, you guys are not counting The Rock? And I remember one person on Twitter even said that, she was talking about, she went through over things and talked about how like Booker T and Mark Henry, those were the world championships, and how The Rock doesn't consider himself to be black. He's biracial, And so that Kofi would be the first. Well, no, that doesn't make any sense because let's take a look at Barack Obama. Barack Obama is black, he's biracial, but Barack Obama is the first black president in United States history. So just because The Rock is biracial and doesn't consider himself to be black, that doesn't mean that he's not black. He still is. He's half black, half Samoan, which would make him the first black WWE champion. So I think if Kofi would win, he's not. I don't think he's the first black WWE champion. And if people want him to be the first black WWE champion, or even if WWE says it, it's not true because it's The Rock. Don't disrespect what The Rock has done. The Rock is the first black WWE champion. And so I think I think this thing of saying that Kofi or anybody, Big E, Xavier, Bobby Lashley, anybody would be the first black WWE champion is mistaken. It's The Rock. It is, and it's always been The Rock, and it always will be The Rock. He is the first black WWE champion, and to say that anybody else is so disrespectful to The Rock, and that's got to end right now. That's got you got to stop with that. You really got to stop with that. So yeah, I think that's we gotta cut that out really. All right, so that's it for this episode of That to Shoot. Post your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think. If you have any comments about any of my putovers, any of my berries, or even the main topic, who's the first black WWE champion? If you have any thoughts, post down in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. This is your boy, AJ Tripp, signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.